What's going on, guys? So in this video we are gonna be doing another deepfake tutorial, but this time around it's just a little bit more advanced. I know the previous tutorial I did was a really quick tutorial, so this one right now, this is the method that I am currently using. Also, just a disclaimer: I am still learning deep faking. I've only tried this thing for the past maybe 2 weeks, so I am still learning. Shout out to 10 Deep Fakery. He's been helping me out with some tips and letting me have some data sources and whatnot. So, with that being said, if you have not voted for my CGI animated short film on My Road Reel 2020. Please do so now right here. If I do win something, I am going to end up giving some back to my channel subscribers anyway, so make sure you vote. Additionally, I'm going to try attempt to submit another entry, a live action short film for the My Road Reel that I shot this past weekend, and it's currently getting worked as far as post-production and editing and stuff like that I'm working at right now. So with that being said, go ahead and give this a vote, and I really do appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a new project here. I got an NVIDIA deepfacelab, and I have a data destination here which I'm going to play, and this is from the Dune trailer. It's really easy, and then I have this data source, which is me really just talking for a good 2.5 minutes, making sure that I have a lot of variations, looking up, looking down, closing my eyes, opening my mouth, all that stuff. Whenever you're creating data sources or the stuff that you'll want to paste to something else, you want to make sure that the lighting is even, make sure that you have different variations of faces and looks, because it's gonna make your footage and your result a lot better. So as you can see here, I do have a lot of shadows right here, which really that screwed up some of the shots. So that was just bad juju. What kind of face is that? So with that being said, let's go ahead and exit that. If you're not familiar with deepfacelab, you can still follow along. I'm going to try my best to kind of make this short and sweet for you guys. So for this to work, you're going to need a data_DST or destination, and you're going to need a data_SRC. Now, you will have 2 other files in here, but go ahead and delete it and replace it with whatever you want, but that's what we're working with. So let's go back just one right here, and now you're going to see the workflow. I know it looks really confusing, but just follow along. So I'm not going to clear my workspace, because if I do, it's going to delete these 2 files. But if you're just starting off, go ahead and clear it if you want by double clicking here and then pressing any key to continue to clear your workspace. Okay, so step number 2, what we're going to do, let's see if I can kind of zoom this in for you guys, maybe so you can see it a little bit better. All right, so number 2, we're going to extract images from video data source. So double click that, and we're going to do enter FPS. Now, since I have 2.5 minutes worth, it's really not that much, so I can put 12 frames per second that the deepfacelab is going to extract images for. You can do 24 frames per second or 30, but you're going to end up with a lot of images. So for now, I'm going to do 12. And then I'm going to do PNG. PNG has better quality than JPEG, so go ahead and press enter. And now it's going to do its thing. Now, while that's working, I'm going to show you what that's doing, okay? So if we go back to workspace while that's still running, you're going to see that in the data source, it is actually extracting frames or images, PNG files from your video. So you can see right there, okay? It's just going, it's going, it's going. So we're going to wait for that to finish. Okay, so once that's finished, go ahead and press any key to continue. And then we're going to go to your data source, and now you're going to see what that BAT file just did. It just extracted a bunch of files or images. So let's go back to the workflow. And now what we're going to do is extract images from video data destination. So similar to this, this way is this bat right here is going to do the same exact process to your data destination. But for this one, we're going to do full FPS. So double click, and we're going to do PNG as well. And then if we go back to workspace, you're gonna see data destination is now getting fulfilled. And it looks like there's 55 frames in this video. So let's see if that's finished. Yep. Press any key to continue. Let's do that. And let's go back to our workflow. So the next thing we're gonna do, now there's a lot of optional things that you can do, but I'm just gonna go straight for it, okay? Because you can get some pretty decent results. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna data source face set extract. What that means is we're gonna extract the faces from my source file. So let's go ahead and double click that. Now this is the automated way. I showed you guys how I showed you guys in my previous video how to do this manually, but automatic actually works well as long as your face set is not too crazy. All right, so it's gonna ask me to do CPU or GPU. I'm gonna do GPU, so 0 is okay by default. Press enter. Enter again. We're gonna do WF or whole face, not wool. And then we're gonna do 0 is okay, and then 512 image size, I'm gonna stick with that. And the JPEG, I'm gonna do 100 because I want to get the best quality out of these. So it's gonna say no for now. It's just default, and it's gonna extract some faces now. So if you want to see what that's doing, actually I don't want to break it, so let's just stay here, and then I'll show you what it's gonna do here in a second. Okay, so the number 4 data source face set extract. Once that's done and you close it, if you go to your workspace, data source and align, you're gonna see what that actually did, and you're gonna see that it is extracted all the faces. So with that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at it. So if you go to 4.1 data source view align result, it's gonna open a little program here. All right, and what you want to do here is make sure that your faces look good. I mean, not like look good, but just make sure like there's no blurriness or, you know, hands in front of the face or anything like that. Kind of scroll through here. Everything looks good right now. You know, it looks like everything is good. I can see the faces. There's nothing blocking the face. But if there is some, just, you know, highlight it and delete it. Make sure to keep all the ones with the eyes closed because that's very important. You got some side profiles right here. You know, so, you know, the data source right here looks good. So what we'll do is go ahead and close this out. I'll have nothing to, we got nothing else to do in there. So 4.2, you can also sort that, your data set, your align face, using these ones. I usually do 4 histogram similarity. So if you want to do 4, you can do that, or you can do best faces as well. So let me go ahead and do 4. And it's just pretty much going to sort it by the histogram. Pretty much everything that has the same exposure, they're going to group together. Okay, so once that's done, go ahead and press any to continue. And then the next thing we're going to do is take a look at our data source. Let's see, I'm not going to enhance any of that stuff. You can if you want. But if we go to data destination phase extract, right here, automatic 5. Basically, we're going to do the same thing, but for our data destination. You're going to see that that's empty. So let's go ahead and go to 5. All right. We're going to do 0, WF, 512, and we're going to do 100. Now, this should be short because there's only like 55 frames. Okay, so image found, faces detected. That's good. 55 of 55. So press any to continue again. And let's go back and take a look. All right, so there you go. Now you can see that the faces are extracted, all 55 frames of it. And if you look at your align debug, you're going to see that it's marking where your face is going to be pasted to. So if this looks wrong, if you look at these and it looks wrong, it doesn't look right, make sure that your data sources or your data destination looks right. Okay, let's go ahead and move forward. So what do we do next? Okay. So similarly to the data source, you can do data destination as well if you want to do or view the align results.bat. So if you got something screwed up, you can delete it as well. So, but everything looks good here. It's an easy kill. And then what we can also do is sort it similarly to how we sorted the data source set. So if you want to do that, go ahead. But I'm just showing you that real quick. I'm going to close that because it looks pretty good in my opinion. Okay, so this is kind of where the manual stuff starts, okay? So if you look at data destination mask edit, I'm going to double click this. Now this is so far, by far, the best way. that, I get the best results when doing this. It's called the Xseg editor. It pretty much makes you and lets you masks manually on both the data destination and data source. So what we're gonna do is just mask around. If you press A, you're gonna go left and rewind. If you go D, you're gonna go forward in time. All right, so the technique here is you want to mask out not all the frames, but what you want to mask out are faces that have different looks to it, variations. So right now we have a normal face. I'm just gonna go ahead and cover his hair for now. It's fine, and make sure you're pretty consistent with the jawline. And this is probably the most tedious part of this, is this rotoscoping right here. All right, and after that, if you go to D, I'm pressing D. When he closes his eyes, he's gonna close his eyes right here. Let's go ahead and do that as well. The more of these masks you do, the better your result is gonna be. So just to keep a heads up out there. So pretty much the same exact thing. We're doing it around the jawline, just like so. And I'm telling you, if you do this right here, it's night and day on the result that you get. Okay. And then if you guys want to keep doing that, just keep doing that on yours. But for now, we are good to go. We have, looks like maybe 4 masks in there, so that's not bad. You can do more if you want, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Okay, and then what we're going to do now is the same exact thing we did for the data destination, but now we are going to do it with the data source. So data source mask edit. Same thing. Now the data source, I'm probably going to have to do a lot of masking here because just look at that first face. So in your data source set, go ahead and mask the same way. So you just mask around whenever you have different types of faces. I'm just going to do a rough mask, guys, because I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this video so we can continue on, all right? I think I did. Yep, right there. So I'm pressing D right now, so it's fast forwarding. So you want to pretty much mask as much as you can on these data destination and data source because it's going to help the deepfaking a lot, all right? So once you're done making ugly faces, go ahead and press X. And now what we're going to do is train that mask. We're going to pretty much ask NVIDIA GPU, the deepface thing to, hey, learn these masks because these are the faces that I want. So we do that by going to 5Xseg train bat. So let's go ahead and double click that. Which GPU to choose? 0. I only have 1. So press enter. WF. Batch size, we're going to leave that to 4 for now. Okay. And it's just loading. It's going to load the samples. Alright, so as you can see, I had 54 masks in between the data destination and data source. And as you can see here, that's the first iteration. We are good. That means that we didn't get an error because it is starting. Alright. So this is the training preview window if you're not familiar with this thing. So if you press P, it's going to update. There you go, 104. And as you can see, it is actually trying to learn our masks. Alright, so what you're going to do now is let this run for around, depending on your files, I would say let this run for around 10,000 iterations and whatnot or more if you want, okay? So press P, and then what I'm going to do is just pause this recording and we're going to hop back in. Alright, so now that you're done training that Xseg, we're going to go ahead and apply that. So what you do is right here, data destination train mask apply. Okay. It's going to do its thing. Okay, that's done. Press any to continue. And we're going to do the same thing for the data source. So data source apply. So we're applying the masks that we just trained pretty much. So enter, and it's going to process. All right, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward this. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a look to see how well that training did. So if you go to data destination mask edit again, I'm going to click this little mask right here on the right side. You're going to see how it looks. Now, this one right here is a pretty simple key. So the face is pretty steady. So this doesn't look that bad. But if you want to get rid of all these small speckles, just keep training the masks again. You see that there's a dot right there? So that might cause a problem. So go ahead and train that mask once again. So close that. Now we're going to go to our data source and take a look at that as well. Edit. All right, this has a lot more pictures, so it's going to take a little bit longer. Okay, there you go. I'm going to press D. So you can see there's some, because it's pretty much, and if you go remove this and just go, you're going to see that that's going to screw it up. So if you're having problems like that, and I kind of did this tutorial like this because you should not have this. And you're having this because you didn't train long enough. So when you get that error, go ahead and train. I'm just pressing D. Train for longer iterations on your masks, okay? Go ahead and close this. So after your source and your data destination look good, it is now time to train the actual saehd. It's number 6 right here, and this is going to train our actual faces. So double click this. And this is going to use the masks that we trained. So no save models found. We're just going to press new. 0 is okay. And then we're going to keep going down the list. We're going to auto backup every hour. Yes. Nope. Most of the stuff by default is good. Target iteration, I leave at 0. Flip faces randomly. Yes. Batch size, I'm going to leave at 4 for now. Resolution, now this takes a lot of VRAM, guys. At my 1080 Ti, the maximum I can do is 208. And this takes a lot of power and it slows down deep faking. So this is totally up to you. So I'm going to go 208 and see if we can do that. Face type, we're going to do WF because that's what we've been doing this whole time. We're going to do DF. I'm going to go ahead and leave all of these by default so it doesn't give us a problem. We're going to do yes to the masks training because we did add some masks for a data set and data source. Eyes priority, if you're getting a lot of, like cross-eyed, you can turn this on, but I leave it on. I leave it off for default for now. Uniform yaw distribution of samples, I usually leave no for now. Place models, yes. Use learning rate dropout. I usually don't do this in early on in the deep training, so let's go ahead and then enable random warp samples. Now 10 deepfakes said go ahead and enable this until 100k, so let's go ahead and leave that on. GAN power is 0, 0, 0. All these settings right here are customizable, but it can crash your model. So I'm just showing you guys really the default that can get you started. You can start messing around with these settings later on when you're a little bit more knowledgeable with how the process goes. Color transfer for source face set, I'm going to leave at none because we can change that later during the merger. Go ahead, enable gradient. We're going to do no, no, and this should start your deep training. Alright, so now we have the training preview similar to our training preview earlier. I'm going to go bring it back. If you press P, you can kind of see what it's doing. So the first column is your face. The second column is what the deepfake is doing to your face. The third column is your source, your data destination face, and then deep face thing. And then the last column is the faces combined. So if I press P, you're going to see that that's updating. It is blurry because we've only done 124 iterations. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to pause it, and I will see you guys in a week. So welcome back, guys. As you can see, we're at 800,000 iterations, and you can see that it is looking really good. So I already had this pre-trained from my last video during the Dune trailer when I deepfake myself, so I didn't have to wait a whole week, but to get this 800,000 iterations, I did have to wait like 3 days or 4 days. So with that being said, so this is what it looks like now. So there's not really an iteration number that's like a good number. You're just going to have to see this right here to see if it looks good, if it's sharp enough. And at 800,000 iterations, I think it's good to go. It learned it pretty well. So the next step we're going to do is actually merging this into a single file. So press enter, and that's gonna save our model. And now the fun part begins, the merging part. So if we go to merge, SAEHD, go ahead and double click that for me. We're gonna go 0, 0. Okay, and then just by default, it's okay. And now you're gonna have this merger window. All right, so similar to my previous tutorial, it's the same thing. If you press tab, it's gonna bring the preview window, and as you can see, that looks pretty freaking amazing. Obviously, the skin tones are hard, and that's kind of like one of the things that my wife told me is like the skin tone is hard, but it's really hard to find a lot of brown actors. You know what I mean? So yeah, this just the only thing that's different is really the skin tone. If you look at my face and his neck is different, and it kind of gives away the illusion. But let's go ahead and process this. So if you go press tab again, you're gonna see the shortcuts. It's gonna tell you what buttons do. We're gonna focus on, we're gonna do erode mask and blur mask, and we're gonna do C for color transfer, and we're gonna learn these as well, because right here, M, all this, period, and less than greater than sign is actually really important because it copies the options in the settings for the rest of the clips. So what do you do now? So for the mask mode, we're gonna do learn prediction and learn destination, and all we gotta do is blur the mask. So it's E for blur the mask. So you can see the edges are now gonna be blurred, and as you can see there, like I said, the skin tone just changed so much. So it's kind of given away that illusion, but maybe we can do a negative mask modifier. We can erode it negative. So you kind of see that it's kind of removing that. But you just got to be careful because that might screw up your image. So this looks pretty good to me. I'll increase the blur a little bit more, maybe to 60. And then if you want, you can press C for Charlie, and it's going to change your color transfer. So this is RCT right now. LCT right here. So linear color transfer, MKL, and just flip through and see which one looks best. And obviously you can composite this later on in After Effects or DaVinci Resolve, but if you don't have those softwares, you can do it all right here. Alright, so that's IDT. It looks like I already found what I like, but I'm just kind of like going through it so you guys can see it. There's Mix M. Alright, so I think I like MKL better. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. Or is it MKLM? Yeah, it's MKLM. So you can mess around with blurring, scaling, sharpening the image, denoising and all that stuff, but for the sake of this tutorial, this will do. So what do you do here? If you press the greater than sign, it's gonna go to the next frame. It should. It's just loading, right? And as you can see there, it's copying our changes. So I'm gonna keep pressing the greater than sign. Okay, but if you want to go ahead and apply all of these settings to the rest of the clip, all you have to do is press Shift, greater than sign, and that's going to merge it all in one button. All right, so it's done. Press X, and then the last thing we're going to do for now is merge it to an MP4. Okay, for the bit rate, I'm just going to go something high. I'm going to go 48. I'm just so used to that, but it's up to you. And now it should be done. Right here, press any. And then if we go to our workspace, we get the result right here. And there you go. Just like that, you have a deep face fake. And as you can see, it is blurry because I did blur the crap out of the edges just so that I can blend the hairline right here. But as you can see, 800,000 iterations with a couple of click, that looks pretty good. Now my eye is obviously screwed up, but you can always fix that with just training it with the eye priority on. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this tutorial, but what I'm going to be doing in part 2 is showing you guys how to do this, the compositing part of it in DaVinci Resolve and After Effects. All right, if you guys have any questions, let me know, and happy deep faking.